Thinking about a vacation this year? Maybe you're going to go to Europe. Who wants to go there? I mean, the thing is, it's expensive and things blow up all the time. Let me make a suggestion. Why don't you explore Texas? I will tell you, one of my hobbies is to check out the various courthouses in Texas. Now, that may not seem like any big deal, except Texas has 254 counties. That is to say, Texas has more counties than any state in the United States, and each one of them has a courthouse. What's even more interesting is the courthouses reflect all kinds of history. Some are dedicated historic structures, but the diversity of the different types is really incredible. Um, I've still got a long way to go in my exploration of the Texas courthouses, but it's actually a little more than that because in a lot of areas, what's fascinating is the court square. What's around the courthouse? And there's a lot of historical preservation. And I'll just give you some examples. If you live in the Houston area, you really ought to go down to the Brazoria County Courthouse in Angleton, Texas. One of the special things about it is this incredible Veterans Memorial that's on the grounds of the courthouse. I mean, it is just beautiful, and it reflects all the various wars and so on and so forth. You've got to see it. It's just incredible. Um, in terms of historic and interesting courthouses, I suggest you go to Giddings. Let me tell you, that courthouse is incredible. I mean, it's neat, it's cool, and so forth. You got to go see it. And again, it's such an inexpensive vacation. It's a road trip, and you get to really see some Texas history. Many of these courthouses have plaques by them talking about the history and so forth. It's just fantastic. I mean, I'm truly addicted to it. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Texas courts today. Texas has 6 trial courts. I don't know of a state that has that many other than Texas. Remember now, trial courts are the courts that initially hear a case, whereas the appeal courts are courts that review the decisions of lower courts to determine if there has been some kind of error. I want to start with the Justice Court today, and it's also known, of course, as the Justice of the Peace and the Small Claims Court. A lot of people don't know that there's one in every county. There has to be. It's required. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize about the Justice Court is that you do not have to be a lawyer to be a judge of the Justice Court. That's right. Being an attorney is not a requirement. And you say, okay, what do you do if you elect the former high school quarterback as the judge or the former head cheerleader? And I mean, do you get justice and that sort of thing? Well, there is a training program, and that helps people that are elected as justice court judges. And in addition, they usually assign them a mentor judge, an experienced judge, in case the new judge has some difficulties. So the point is they usually get the job done. What kinds of things do they handle in justice court? Well, they handle on the criminal side, they handle Class C misdemeanors. Now, Class C misdemeanors is the lowest level of, quote, crime in the state of Texas. It is the only criminal offense for which you cannot be sent to jail, okay? Now, some people might say, well, I know someone that had a case in justice court and they got sent to jail. Well, that's kind of a yes and no thing. If you do not appear when you're supposed to appear in justice court, in other words, if you get a ticket or a summons or whatever, and you don't show up, the judge issues a warrant for your arrest. And then if you happen to be unlucky one day and you're stopped and you're on the computer, then what happens is you get arrested, okay, because you failed to appear as ordered, by the court through the law enforcement officer that issues a citation or summons. But as far as pure conviction goes, you don't get sentenced to any jail time for a conviction. So they handle Class C misdemeanors. What kinds of things are they? Well, they're traffic offenses. So if you had a traffic offense in an unincorporated area where there's no municipal court, the justice court would be the traffic court, if you will. They also handle certain types of assaults and very petty thefts, some bad check cases, etc. It's interesting that they can handle DWIs for people under, I think, 21. And normally DWIs, first offenses and second offenses are handled in the county courts, but in certain circumstances, a DWI for someone, I believe, under 21, it can be handled by the justice court. It's kind of interesting if you're 21 in Texas and you test positive for alcohol of any kind. Guess what? It's a violation of the law because you're not supposed to be drinking alcohol at that age. The Justice Court also handles a number of different types of civil cases. First and foremost, they handle evictions. It is the only court in Texas, the only trial court that handles eviction cases. So they call that exclusive jurisdiction. In addition to that, they can handle lawsuits up to $10,000. Okay. I think it's funny if they call that a small claim. I don't think it's a small claim from my vantage point. But the point is that the Justice Court serves a very important function. It's kind of the people's court. It tends to be less formal. Also, you normally don't have a court reporter in the Justice Court. It's, as I said, extremely informal. Now, I will tell you that it can be much more informal in more rural areas, in places like Harris County, Texas, where they have more of everything and everything's busy. The justice courts are very, very busy, and so you don't have the necessary feeling of the informality that you might in other counties. But the fact is that all counties in Texas have a justice court. It's mandated by the Constitution. So, and sometimes the justice courts are in the same courthouses as the county courts and district courts, and other times they might be separated and might be in different buildings. In some counties only have one justice court. Some counties have 4 justice courts, and larger counties have more than 4 justice courts. So the thing is that as a result, you don't always have a justice court that's in the main courthouse building. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're in a city and you get a summons to justice court, you better check the address of the court because it may not be downtown or with the other courthouses. This is kind of a technical matter, but under certain circumstances, a justice court decision can be, quote, appealed to a county court. Now, this is a technical process, and it doesn't happen a lot, but there are circumstances where a decision by the justice court can be appealed to the county court for an entire new trial. So you may want to keep that in mind. It's kind of they call it a appeal for trial de novo, and that just simply means a completely new trial. So it can be a little unusual in the justice court, but most of the time this court disposes of minor criminal offenses and smaller level civil cases and evictions. Have a good day. See you next time.